Oh no. Oh no.
If the train tour does end up being canceled because of the rain, you'll definitely be able to get a refund for that.
Okay. Isa pa, isa pa. Dito sa dugo parang hindi masyado maingay.
I'm in the middle.
Alright, so this is Linda. She's a 90-year-old matcha mule mine locomotive. They would have originally used that here up in the mines at Atlas Coal Mine. When they closed it down, they brought the locomotive out of the mine, adjusted the gauge of our train tracks, plopped that locomotive on, attached some old coal cars, and now we call it a ride. Just give me a second here. Go for Sarah. Okay, so when you're choosing your coal car, keep in mind the last coal car is a little rougher. The coal car at the front is a little smoother. I can actually remove the gate on the first coal car there to make it a little easier to load in and out if you need some help. The best way to load onto the coal car is using the little bumpers in between the coal cars. You can use that sort of like a step getting up and inside. Just watch yourself because there are some loose, rusty bits sticking out everywhere. So you guys are welcome to load on. Hopefully the seats aren't too wet. We did get a bit of rain. Quite a bit of rain.
Teka lang.
Hit people in the face with the umbrella.
No, sit down tayo because it's raining.
Takes a few seconds for those coal cars to kind of catch up. So when we start and end, it's a bit of a bang. For you guys there at the end, it's going to look like I'm parking you right into the back of the hill. I have to park all the way back so I can get at a switch in the tracks. So don't panic if it looks like I'm driving you right into the end, okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to start the locomotive here.
As you're falling down in your...
Don't be afraid, Maya. It's train. Minecraft. Okay? Minecraft train. Minecraft.
Backup brakes, right?
No.
Yes. Does anyone want to guess what powers Linda the locomotive? Yeah. No, that's a really good guess. Electricity. That's why you're not hearing anything. This is a 9-year-old battery-powered locomotive.
Kuryente pala siya.
90 years old na tong train.
So sit up a little bit, raise yourself, and we'll
Akala pumunta tayo doon sa may bridge.
Charge mo naman. Diyan na, Mama. Mama, siya.
Okay, we're really heavy, so we actually stopped a little short. So I'm just gonna park us a little bit back a bit, okay? Just so I can get to the switch. So brace yourself again, it'll just be a little bit. Okay, so now we have to switch the tracks so that when we leave, we'll be going to the right of the other set of tracks.
Aha.
If anyone wants to come out and help me do that, you're welcome. Just use the little bumpers in between to get off the cars, okay? Need a hand, pal? Watch your step. Okay, so I just put this block in there so that the tracks don't move when we're rumbling over it. And now I have to actually move the track. So you guys can kind of all take turns helping me out. Whoever wants to go first. Well, you're in the front, so you might as well help first.
This is where you're gonna wear your.
So you just pull it towards you. And I'm gonna hold it just in case, because I kind of see how he's actually moving the whole track. Whoa. So I'm gonna move it up a bit, and now you can have a turn.
Oh, dang it, missed that one.
Oh no, he can come back.
All right,
I'll get him to finish it off.
There you go.
And you might want to watch out, okay, buddy? Maybe stand off the track.
Oh yeah, James.
Stand on the
stand
wood.
on the wood part. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Okay, so let's move it up. Let the next person have a little turn. Oh, it's hard.
Oh, be strong.
Oh,
Good job, Elise.
good job. That is so cute.
You can hang.
All right, let's get you to
Okay,
have
William,
a turn
show
here.
us your muscles. Come on, Will.
And then maybe you guys can do it together, okay? Look at your hands. You look like a little old coal miner with those black hands.
He basically is. Whoop.
That's why I hold it. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so move it up one more time, and I'll let you finish it off, okay? And let them take this. You want to finish it off for me?
William, go ahead.
I'll let him get a bit so he can.
No, James. Okay. All right, one more friend has
You
a
guys
turn,
are
sweetie.
so cute.
Now I'm gonna
Okay, is it James?
Now I'm gonna get blue.
James. There's another William waiting, sweetie. Yeah.
What's your name in the blue shirt? William. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right.
Manual yung switching ng truck. Hindi siya yung may switch talaga. Parang crowbar siya para magpalit.
Up the other set of tracks. So some of you guys were over there talking to Bob Moffitt. Bob is 87 and a half, and he's worked out here for 70 years. He started working at the mine on the top of the hill. When we're driving away, you may see a little structure at the top of the hill. That's from the Murray mine, and that's where Bob started working when he was 16 years old. But he's lived out here his whole life pretty well, and he has a lot of stories of stuff the kids used to do back when they lived over in East Cooley. So all of the miners that worked at the 4 mines here, we have Murray Mine, Atlas Coal Mine 3 and 4, and next door the Western Monarch Mine. You might have seen a fire in the field earlier. I don't know if anyone who was here for that had a bit of a fire over there earlier. But all of those miners lived over in East Cooley, and they needed that bridge to get the men to work and back. That bridge was also used as a train bridge for the CP Rail and the Canadian National Railway to get their box cars filled with coal off of the sites from these mines here. So it's a pretty important bridge. It's actually a historic site. We're hoping that someone will cough up millions of dollars to help restore that bridge. It's beautiful, and it would be really nice to turn it back into a footbridge, which is our hope. But what do the kids do out here? The men are busy mining, the women are busy cleaning and doing laundry and cooking dinner. What do the kids like to do? Like, what do you guys like to do for fun? William? What is it? Relaxing. Oh, well, that's something the kids could have done for sure. What about you guys? Climbing cliffs. Oh, okay. What do you guys like doing? Not the minor kids, but for real. Be honest. Video games. Those are the answers I was looking for. Gymnastics, video games, TV. Those kids didn't have stuff like that back then. But what they would do on those hot summer days, if you talk to guys like Bob, you'll learn that the kids would all go along the river and they would build forts out of the clay. Little clay forts. And these kids, they're miners' kids, right? They're tough. They're not content with just building a fort. They had to step it up a bit, and they would play war with these forts. So what you're doing is you're competing for the best fort. So, you know, you built a nice fort, maybe your friend's is a little bit nicer. You're gonna take your friend's fort out with whatever means you have. So you're gonna throw rocks, sticks, homemade bow and arrows, and slingshots. But these kids had access to something most kids don't. And it's a substance that we call calcium carbide. So if you go on the other side of the site and you look in our lamp house, you'll see some of the old miners' lamps. And those early lamps were open flame lamps called calcium carbide lamps. So what you would do is get some calcium carbide in the bottom of the lamp, water in the top chamber. And when the water would drip and mix with that calcium carbide, the two combined create a gas called acetylene gas. Give it a flick, and it would ignite that open flame on your helmet. So those miners were actually going into the mine with an open flame lamp. But the kids knew what they could do with that calcium carbide. They knew what it was capable of. So what they would do is go into their mom's kitchen, grab a canning jar, sneak into dad's work bag, and grab a few scoops of his calcium carbide. Take it down to the river. When they're ready, they have a fort in mind that they want to take out. They would quickly fill that jar with water, put the lid on it, shake it, throw it to your friend's fort. Boom! It's going to take out your friend's fort. They were building homemade grenades, essentially. And the girls would do something similar, but they weren't as, destructive. Thank you. So they would go into mom's kitchen, grab a canning jar, go into dad's bag, grab a few scoops of that calcium carbide. Dad's probably wondering what's happening to all his calcium carbide. Go down to the river, but they would throw some heavy rocks into that jar, fill it full of water, shake it, drop it off the bridge, and it would sink. And as that jar would sink, boom, fish would start floating up to the surface. So you can scoop up those fish, have a little fish fry, maybe bring home dinner. They call it hillbilly fishing. I'm pretty sure it's very illegal to do that now. All right, yeah, very bad. Do you guys have any questions over here? Well, we'll just keep going. Hopefully the kids did a good job with that switch. I'm looking at you, William and William. And we'll be heading up that other track, okay? So just like the rest of the trip, you guys, right? Yeah, why do I have this pool noodle, the kids are asking? Because this was about how tall the mine was here at the Atlas coal mine. It's just over 5 feet.
Oh.
So it's just tall enough for me to squeeze my locomotive through. So as a motorman, I would have to keep my squishy pool noodle, it was a solid wooden beam. So you had to keep your head down low. Now my first trip of the day would be a man trip. Normally it would take you about 2.5 hours to walk the 4.5 kilometers to the back of the mine. But if your timing was right, you could hop on one of these coal cars and you could take the hour car ride, or train ride, sorry, to the back of the mine. So it's gonna save you an hour and a half of walking. But for those taller men, you guys are gonna have to keep your head between your knees because it was, again, only about 5 feet tall. So if you're, yeah, you'd have lost your head. Down low.
I would just aim the cold.
There wouldn't be cold in you first trip in.
All right, so let's just give a round of applause to our 2 Williams. 10 and 11. That's quite old, actually. These guys would have been old pros by 10 and 11. Because in early days of mining, you could be 6 years old and you could get a job as a trapper. Now, what those boys would do, always boys, women and girls were considered bad luck in the mine. Sorry girls in advance. But what they would do is they would be stationed throughout the mine. Your job would be to stand there. If you see the locomotive, you open a trap door. Locomotive drives through, you close that trap door. And you'd wait for the locomotive again. When you see it, you'd open the door. The train drives through, you'd close it. That would be your job all day. Now, we didn't trust those kids with those calcium carbide lamps. We know what kind of trouble those kids can get into with the calcium carbide. So we would leave them in the dark. But now you have a dark child in the mine, you worry they're gonna wander off. So we would just tie a rope around their waist, tie them to their work post, and you would leave them there for the day. So I trusted you two not to wander off, so I didn't have to tie you to your post. Because you guys behaved.
Hello pa. O
The
sige,
reason we
shot
would have
natin ha.
trap doors through the mine is just as those doors open and close, it kind of created a nice ventilation through the mine, bringing fresh air. Now, unfortunately for us, Alberta came up with these labor laws, so kids weren't allowed to work in the mines anymore. So we thought, okay, 6 is a little young. It doesn't seem right. So we're gonna bring that age up to 8. 8 years old. And then from 8 to 12, 12 to 16, finally, we got laws that said no more kids in the mine, you guys. You have to be 18 to work in the mine, 16 to work up in the tipple, that big wooden structure. And I always ask Bob, like, Bob, why couldn't the kids have one of those lamps? You know, why did we leave them in the dark? And if you talk to Bob, you would understand his sense of humor. He just said, well, if a child has a lamp and the kid wanders off in the mine and gets lost, well, now you're out of lamp. So they would leave them in the dark. And the only light those kids would see all day is just the light of that locomotive coming and going. Yeah. And by the end of the day, they'd be so tired, you'd need someone else to come and scoop you up and carry you home. It was a long day for those guys. They'd easily work 8, 10, or 12-hour shifts. They can make their families $3 a day. So would you do that? Quit school, work in the mine for $3 a day? Raise your allowance. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going on. If you guys haven't seen the whole site, the lamp house, or sorry, the wash house is my favorite building on the site. Alright, so you can see our coal car graveyard here. What we would do with the old coal cars when we're done with them? Leave leave them in the field. But they're here if you need to steal parts off them. You could borrow some wheels off of one of them. And they just left all this stuff when they closed the mine down, officially in 1984. And this is where this stuff will sit forever. Some of it's being completely buried from the clay running down the hill. What are you working on, Ty? Oh, a new spray. Alright, so in all, the Atlas coal mine 3 and 4 hauled out more than 5 million tons of coal. That's about 2.5 million coal cars just like this. And most of that was dug out by hand. So a lot of digging for those guys. Do you guys have any questions while we're over here? Oh, that's a good question. So the black stuff on the side of the hill there, that is our slag heap or slag heap. It's a pile of coal you can't sell. What are you going to do with your coal if you can't sell it? Throw it over the side of the hill. Garbage, broken bottles, broken timbers, broken coal cars, you just throw it all over the side of the hill. Dinosaur bones and petrified wood, what are you going to do with that? You're going to throw that over the side of the hill as well. Yeah, dinosaur bones aren't going to heat your home. Right? Nobody cared about dinosaur bones originally.
All of the white rocks you see scattered in that pile are petrified trees.
There you go. So a lot of petrified wood in that pile. Now, why doesn't Ty go in there and get some of those waffles? Ty?
Because that's horrifically illegal. So not only do we have responsibility we also have the responsibility here to visual sightlines.
And that coal is actually highly flammable. Like, all it would take are Ty's boots rubbing around in that slag pile to cause some friction enough to start a fire. And that coal pile can slow burn for decades once it's lit. And I don't know, was anyone here for the fire in the field next door? Yeah, so there was a little grass fire in the field next door, but there are piles of slack coal over there as well. So those piles of coal were burning and giving the firefighters a bit of a tough time putting that fire out. Yeah. Why can't they sell that coal? Well, it's not good coal, and that's why it's there in the first place. So it probably had some sandstone mixed in, maybe some moisture. For whatever reason, it wasn't a good haul of coal. That's why they dumped it on the side of the hill. Thanks for getting that date for me. I totally forgot about that.
Ayun. Wait, picture lang tayo may dun sa train. Maya, you enjoy?
Yeah.
Love the trains?
Yeah. Can I try this?
Oh, yeah. Oh.